10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Good luck, studio.
Hello.
It's the Shiloh Podcast.
All I wanted was a pie, and then I hatched out of an egg.
Okay, bring the mic over. He's ready to record.
It's the quiet ones you've got to watch, you know.
Is it metaphorical? Is it deep? Is it deep?
Boy, he said all that shy is right.
I mean, Governor, it's the Shy Life Podcast.
Excellent.
604. Bonjour et bienvenue au podcast The Shy Life.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Shy Life Podcast. Well, I say yet another episode. This is a very important episode because it's our New Year's Day episode or New Year episode, depending on when it goes out. Yes, it's going to be a busy episode with lots of guests. Chatterbox, Nick's here with me.
Hello.
Yes.
Happy New Year to you.
Yes, Happy New Year. But so yeah, I'm going to run the theme music, and when we come back, we'll invite everybody to join the call, and we'll start nattering. They're keen to get started. Right, run that theme music.
Darling, it's the Shy Life Podcast.
Good, well, it's a positive thing, Paul. The highlight, the Shy Life.
You won't find a cast of characters like this everywhere.
Hello, Paul.
I'll go anyway for a potato.
Delicious.
Hello, campers. How are you?
You quite like a big bang, don't you?
Go Shy Yeti.
Oh, I hope he hasn't found out my secret. I think he has.
If you thought that was bad, just listen to this.
Yeah, I am strangely drawn to Yeti Uncle John's ankles as well.
But has the Shy Life Podcast slowed down? I don't think so.
It's all gooey and meaty and yum.
Has anyone seen my hot sausage?
Oh, I can't wait for it to begin.
It's the Shy Life Podcast.
I like that, yeah.
Marvellous, Paul.
Hello. Oh dear, he's cold.
Those are my teeth in the glass next to me.
You need to jump up and down. Oh, just a minute.
Oh no, things drop off if you do that.
Yeah.
No, don't jump up and down. He falls over very easily, don't you, Warren?
Yeah.
Yes, I do fall over.
I'm adding the wrong person.
We're getting to that age, aren't we?
It's the forever youthful Nick. Hello, Nick.
It's young Mr. Nick.
Hello, young Mr. Nick.
Very well.
Calling Mr. Toppy Smelly. Calling Toppy Smelly. Hello?
Oh, it's the Gorn. Run, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Toppy.
Hello,
Hi, Toppy.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Oh.
So just a minute.
I hope it's warmer in America than it is here.
Probably
Well, I'm just going to say it's 30 here. What's it? Well, of course, that's Fahrenheit. What's it over there?
I still think in Fahrenheit.
It's probably about that at the moment.
Are we under freezing?
I think we're sort of medieval.
Medieval, yes.
Ice Age.
Medieval.
That's a damp cold.
Yeah.
our roll call tonight is Mr. Toppy Smelly, Mr. Warren, Mr. Lisa, and Mr. Trevi, Mr. Me.
Mr. Me.
I think that's it, isn't it? We haven't.
And Mr. Me too.
Yeah, Mr. You, Mr. Nick. Did I not say Mr. Nick?
Oh.
We haven't got Mr. Martin because, but he will be appearing in a pre-recorded segment later in the episode.
He will appear on film.
As will Muffley. Muffley isn't here, but he'll be.
He's surrounded by film.
Yeah, he'll be. But it's our New Year's episode. I hesitate to say New Year's Day because
I wonder why it's so noisy outside.
It depends. I might get it out on New Year's Day, and I might get the episode out as well.
Well, hey,
Hey.
depends on the weather.
If anyone will notice.
So should we say Happy New Year now?
Yeah, Happy New Year now.
Not now.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Sorry, I didn't want to Poseidon Adventure.
We might have forgotten by the end of the episode.
No clambering up Christmas trees.
Oh, do you know, my wife has come up with an idea, because it's 50 years of the Poseidon Adventure this month, and she has proposed the idea, very nerdish, of watching the film to coincide with the new year.
Oh, I like it.
And
Get the
sort of-
timing just right.
Just the timing, just right. So they go, Happy New Year as it's New Year, and then watch it in real time.
Watch it fall apart.
So that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, because apparently that's a tradition in one of the Scandinavian countries. I forget which one it is now, but it's on every New Year. It's a tradition for it to be shown every New Year, and it goes over from New Year into New Year's Eve to New Year's Day.
Okay.
Good on.
So,
And we had Digby, the biggest dog in the world.
Oh, we've got that. He's
Do you let him out, or do you leave him in the house?
Down boy.
He's scraping at the door to go out.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Nick. I just can't help myself.
Gee, over here in the States on New Year's Eve, we get It's a Mad, 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 Mad World or The Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah.
I'd like to go for the Poseidon Adventure, I think, rather than this Batman.
Yeah.
Mad world for a year. Did I get the amount of Mads right?
I think
Mads just seem to go on forever.
Yeah. I think he left one out, but
Yeah,
we know what you're talking about.
I've got some random New Year facts. The earliest recorded festivities in honour of a New Year's arrival date back some 4,000 years to ancient Babylon. Old Lang Syne.
Is that like Babylon Hogmanay?
I'm not sure. Possibly. Old Lang Syne is a Scottish folk song made famous in America by Canadian bandleader Guy Lombardo in the late 1920s.
Huh. I thought it went back much farther than that. I didn't know that.
Well, it was made famous, so it's difficult to know how long it was hanging around not being famous.
Yeah.
Might have been like that Kate Bush song that wasn't famous in America until this year, and then became massively famous.
You know, Guy Lombardo was a thing that went right up to the 70s, that guy. So from the 20s to the 70s, he was still swinging it.
You'll have your eye out.
American version of Andy Stewart.
Kissing someone at midnight is said to come from the idea that doing so will prevent loneliness during the coming year and ward off evil spirits.
Don't work.
I mean, you might not want to ward off evil spirits. You might still want to have a snog, though.
Are evil spirits good at snogging?
I don't know. We'll have to go find some later.
Depends how bad they are, dear boy.
and you know, of course, that New Year didn't always start in January.
That's true.
Yes.
It shifted with the shifting of the calendar.
Yeah, it used to start... sometimes it started around Easter, didn't it? Depending on when Easter was. So, yeah, it started later in the year. And then when they got the Gregorian calendar, everything sort of shifted around a bit. So...
That old Greg.
Yes. Comes with free chant.
Yes.
Well, before we go on to any other topics, I want to... this is like... Not exactly an award ceremony, but I want to single out certain members of the, all of you lot, for your greatest hits of the Shy Life podcast for 2022. I know we've just done our review of the year, but there were so many episodes I didn't have a chance to talk to anyone about it. So I thought I might mention some of your individual greatest hits for any comments you may have. But I'm going to start with Troby and Lisa. Obviously, you were on every Chatterbox episodes. We're not going to talk about those. We're going to single out the weirder episodes you're involved in. For instance, episode 520, The Glad Return of the Open Universe University. I can't remember, what was our subject? What was our subjects? Probably history and science for you two. But
well, I know we did chemistry and or astronomy, but I couldn't tell you which way round we did it. I know you did
now.
sort of kings and Kings and Things, didn't
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that came out all the way back in March now. It's a long time ago.
But that sort of set the scene, didn't it, for later things that we did? So that was actually quite a nice sort of way to do it.
One of your other episodes, this is more, I suppose, more of a Troby episode. In August it came out, episode 560, Troby and the Gang's Otherworldly Day Out. That's when you, me, and Nick went up into space and we looked at the stars and things.
Yeah, and I spilt my weak lemon drink all over Ick's spaceship. That was nice to get out into space because I could use my telescope and everything. Yeah,
I do hope that the whole business we're having with Ick at the moment, where he's being a bit of a cow about his contract, isn't because you spilled weak lemon drink on his spaceship. Dear oh dear, you might have to help me lure him back if that turns out to be the case. But jumping ahead to November, episode 589, Shy Yeti's 49th birthday Chatterbox dilemma. That involved you and Lisa, where we got locked in. Well, my birthday party fell apart, and we got locked in with Muffley but we had a nice chat about things anyway.
Yeah, I like the fact that the first time we worked with Muffley, we sort of end up being locked in the room. So,
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that if we'd not got on with him, that could have ended badly.
It could have been tricky. Yes.
Thankfully, we were all friends, so that was good.
Well, we'll come to Nick's first encounter with Muffley. He was slightly more less enforced. But of course, the other episode I remember, also from November, was episode 591, A Quick Jaunt Through Time with Lisa P. That was, Lisa and I went back in time. That was exciting.
We did. You caught James the first eye, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
He liked you.
Cool, though. He's still not called.
No.
Feel snubbed.
I have to say the linguistic skills were amazing.
The Kings have their own linguistic skills. What do you?
I know. I was lost in the majesty of it. Oh, hello!
There was some sort of weird effect, wasn't there?
There was a what? A weird
effect that happened when we went back in time that they all got a bit mixed up. The accents got carried from one to another. So
is that some sort of time eddy thing?
Yeah, it's some sort of time distortion thing.
All right.
Yeah.
That's your theory, is it?
And I'm sticking to it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're hoping to travel again in the future. So
Yes. We thought we might go and see Richard III. See if he was as bad as.
No, he didn't have a hump. He had a raised shoulder.
I thought I'm hoping
Norman Wisdom. No.
I'm hoping that we can prove some of the stereotypes or some of the misconceptions about these monarchs. We can.
Now it's the winter of my discontent, Mr. Grimsdale.
Well, Epitimus. Way! Yeah.
Now,
good thing you're not coming.
Yeah, I'd probably better not come to this. Yeah.
Having a single toppy out now for some praise. Other than the Chatterbox episodes, one of my favourites was episode 558. Paul and Toppy are gym bunnies. We went to the gym. We encountered vampires, but that's by the by. At least I was getting some exercise.
Was it gym bunnies or gym buddies?
Bunnies.
Bunnies. So you had little. Were you like sort of bunny girls?
We didn't see any real bunnies, but
did you wear like ankles? Those ankle socks and the headbands as well in pure 80s style.
Like. That's what we were dressed like. Although the second time we did an episode about exercise, we had these really shiny, like tracksuits, which made us realise that some runners going past weren't casting reflections, and they were vampires too. So.
I think Warren's thinking of like things like Jane Fonda's gym workout.
I was thinking of Jane Fonda's gym workout. Yeah, I was.
God, honestly.
Leg warmers.
Leg warmers. That was it. Yeah.
I'm not sure Toppy and I are quite as exciting as Jane Fonda, but not. Or maybe we have a different appeal. I'm not sure, but also, of course, episode 567, looking back over Matinee Minutia, season 4. We did our annual. Look at your fourth season of Matinee Minutia.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And DJ was there for that. He's the feller that I do that with.
Yeah. And yes, lots of we did. That was like packing all of a season into one episode. But as you say, we often start slow and then realise that time's getting on. And we have to go faster towards the.
Oh, every time.
It's difficult to balance out the time. Another episode I'm thinking of came out in October. Episode 577, the Incredible Yeti Toppy House Swap Palaver. That goes back to when we talked to our sort of therapist about things to do with Yeti Uncle John, and you made a comment about how wonderful he must be to live with, and I said, okay then. Why don't you
I learned my lesson.
Yeah, and I went to see Aunt Tappy, and I was like a total joy to as a house guest, because I'm a joy as a house guest, aren't I, Nick?
Oh yes.
Yes, you see, Nick says I'm a joy. So Aunt Tappy, I'm sure, found me an absolute joy. Then, of course, it was only a few episodes later, episode 580, Scary Tales from Bettina's Garden Party. That was a two-parter. That's when we ended up down in the cellar, and then had to swim out of a fish pond and all sorts.
Yeah, it was a fountain.
Yeah, it was quite an adventure. We were quite heroic, I think, in that episode.
Oh, pretty much. We vanquished the yogurt vampires.
Yeah. And I think Aunt Tappy had a good time. She, everybody had quite a good time, except for poor Tallulah, who bumped into. Better not say in case people haven't heard episode 600 yet. But
no spoilers.
No spoilers. Although we are on episode 602, but people might listen to things out of order. So anyway, and also some of the people who are in this episode don't know what the twist is themselves yet. We're recording live. This is New Year's Day.
I can confidently say that I haven't heard episode 600 yet, Paul.
No, it's not. This isn't pre-recorded or anything.
Oh.
Then we also actually some of these episodes do sort of dovetail with episodes with multiple guests, because episode 583, Having a Scream at Halloween. You helped me with my Halloween episode. You helped inspire me. But then we had a bonus episode 584. Some extra eek for your Halloween, and that's that chat that Nick, you and I did about things that scared us or scary things. I think that was my quickest turnaround, where I released 2 episodes in one day. But I just thought, well, I might try and do this other episode before the end of the day. Oh, I've done it. All right then. But yes, I recently sent Toppy a list of plot lines and stories for 2023, so it's going to be kept very busy. Lots of things going on with lots of different characters and people, and we've got to the stage now where Muffley's suggesting ideas. It's just like the old days of Sutton Park, where people were kind of going, "Oh, well, can we do this plot about this?" So it's perfect. Now, moving on to Nick's episodes. We again, some of these episodes. Actually, I think Nick appeared with quite a lot of people where there were sort of extra guests. So, episode 502, Toppy in the Return of the Tape Scene Kid. That's
was that the first tape scene?
That was that was because Toppy wanted to talk to us about our episode about doing tape scenes.
Oh yes, so we enjoyed that one.
Yeah, so we talked to Toppy, or Toppy asked us questions about what tape scenes were, because they weren't very. Yeah,
loved doing that one, Toppy.
Yeah, that was fun.
And then episode 511, Nick G's very own spare bedroom book club. That was.
Sounds like there's got a load of people reading in my spare room. What are you all doing here?
You go in your spare room and everyone goes, shh.
Well, we're in that room at this very moment, and yes, we've done sort of book club episodes, but we literally looked at what was on one of your bookshelves, and
I'm not actually sure, because we I think that was before we actually we've moved out the cabinet with this TUC archive now, so all the books we were straining our neck to look at are actually much more visible now.
Yeah, but I'm not sure those books were in that bookcase.
No, there was a whole load in the bedroom that's been transferred.
Yeah,
here.
so
in a proper.
Yeah, so that's
proper shelves now.
So that bookshelf doesn't exist anymore in that way, not in that form anyway.
No, the same bookshelf.
Yeah, the same bookshelf,
but it's different
book. So if we did that episode now, we'd get a completely different result. But we also had another reunion with Toppy in April, episode 529. Paul, Nick, and Toppy have words. That was when we compared our like America meanings of words in America and meanings of words over here, and then in June we did episode 544, Paul and Nick's Tremendous TV Tipple. I think that was the first time that we did a TV watching thing whilst we were having our Saturday night wine. Yes. So the reviews of things got increasingly slurred. Episode 555. It's been 18 years and we're in need of a catch up.
That was you, Mr. Warren.
Yes,
is that me?
That's you.
Yes.
You two having a natter. Well, yes. I was there too. But we kept on doing things like with our random words. Episode 562, pop, groovy, snuggles, and all manner of other random words. That was one. We've got some more random word episodes in the can for next year. And then another collaboration was in November, episode 587, Shietti presents Buffly on Tour's first chat with Nick.
So yes, that was quite charming.
That was.
He's and bless him, he's bought our new book, has he not?
Yes, so we should.
Woman for All Reasons out now.
Oh yeah, he's posing. Listeners, he's posing.
Straight in with the plug. Straight in with the plug there.
We have been
calling him into makeup.
We've been telling the listeners about that book because we started the book around the same time we started the podcast.
Yeah.
Moving on to Warren now. I think in a way Warren's had the biggest.
Easy.
Are you going to finish that sentence?
Just leave it there. Leave it there.
Let him savour the moment.
I think Warren has stepped forward this year, and I put him through quite a lot. He's really stepped up to the mark. Our first non-Chatterbox episode, because Warren, you'd appeared on some like Chatterbox episodes when you were over at Andrew and Lisa's, but I think the first proper episode you did with me was episode 524. Paul and Warren are full of horror. We talked about Amicus films, and we talked about I talked a little bit about Italian films, but I think the Amicus part of that episode was the best bit.
Well, no, you got me into Eyeball, didn't you? You
probably around
Tinker, you.
Yes, it probably led to the article that I did for the Cinematic Sausage later in the year. But at that point, you hadn't met any of the regulars. But in the next episodes that were coming up, you did meet all the regulars. So. You
didn't exactly ease me in gently, did you?
No, well, I kind of did, but then I
made a great swimming teacher, wouldn't he?
No, well, I didn't quite throw him in because his first episode was just about horror. No, and then I said, well, maybe you'd like to meet some of the regulars. Episode 536, the Fantastic Return of Uncle Warren. That was where we had the format of we talk about a year in TV just to kind of make you think nothing weird was going to happen, and then I'd spring some sort of plot line on you. But I think in that episode we introduced you. Well, but I don't know actually. I'm not quite sure what happened in that episode because the next episode we did 547. Uncle Warren gets the grand tour. That must have been when you actually met each of the characters.
That's when I met Bettina, and it was the fan club.
Well, no, that was the next. That was the
next one.
That was when Tallulah and Bettina sort of fell for your podcasting wiles. I'm not sure. Maybe the Telly Fantastic episode wasn't quite so weird. You see, I did ease you in a little bit gently.
He's insistent on this point.
Just a bit.
Left a bit, right a bit, drop him down.
But yes, episode 564, Uncle Warren confronts his rival fan clubs. That came out in August. That was
messy. That one was messy, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I was scarred after that one.
It was all those talons. They were
all that cake.
And that cake, yes. And then episode 588, Uncle Warren has a word in our shell likes. That was in November. That was
Come in, lad. Take a seat.
Yeah, he called you in. Yeah, we called you in because we felt that poor Cromitty was getting a rough deal from Yeti Uncle John, and you talked to both of them.
I have to say, Warren, you were very hard on Yeti Uncle John, I thought.
Well, he likes someone to be hard on him.
That's not wrong. You're not wrong. So there are episodes that are waiting enthusiastically to be released, and I can definitely reveal that Warren has been back and other things have occurred, but you'll have to wait a week or two for them. But
Sweetmeat,
I think you've I think you survived the your ravenous fans.
I remember. I do remember.
Good.
Just thought I'd leave that there. I remember. It was such a long time ago.
Sometimes it was. I'm sometimes 3 months behind on editing.
No, I remember serving you sweetmeats.
Yeah. Sweetmeat.
That was at the garden party.
Well, that was in another episode. That was
that was the vampires.
That was the vampire of the garden party.
You're quite taken with it, if I remember.
I was, and you also turned up at my birthday party. Not that I knew it because I was inside.
That's right. I got turned away, didn't I?
By Yeti Uncle John, and we all thought Yeti Uncle John was behind it, and it turned out to be Ick, which is where all the Ick business turned.
Was it your pink limousine?
That's it, with his shag inside the car.
The shag pile.
Shag inside the car. Yeah, it was really deep.
You let Yeti Uncle John have a go on your shag, didn't you?
I did. He liked immersing himself on my shag.
Yeah. Well, again, very Yeti Uncle John, but
it was like one of those pictures you have taken as a baby naked on a sheepskin rug. It was just like that, but it was pink.
Yeah. So, do any of you have requests if you could be in any type of episode next year? Or this year now, what are your expectations? Where would you like to go? What would you like to do?
Sheepskin rug.
You want more episodes on the sheepskin rug?
A guest turn on the shag would be good for me.
Well, we're just going to have to do a shag.
Pencil me in for that.
God, there's a queue forming for a go on this, isn't there? You'll have to rent it out by the hour.
I was going to say to Toppy, you may not realise you've kind of walked into
a trap,
like a sort of not like a Doctor Who local group meeting from 1993. Although there was no Doctor Who local group in 1993, but Nick and I were talking earlier that we're going to look at some TV that came out in 1993 partly because it's 30 years since 1993, and partly because when we've talked about TV, we've done quite a lot of the other years with freezing, so we can't do them again. So it has to be 1993, pretty much, or it could be 2003, but I doubt much exciting happened in 2003.
Apart from me getting married.
Well, you went on TV, though. You could be. You could.
I do if I put the video.
Yeah, you could do.
Video.
Yeah. No, but that's good because I like to be educated about Doctor Who, and I've missed so much of it.
Nick knew of Lisa's existence.
I did, yes.
Before 1993. But 1993 was...
You were my customer, weren't you, from 91 onwards?
I was.
You wrote her down.
Where are we going with this?
You wrote her name down in your book.
May 93. We actually met you. It was myself. I think you were there too. Andrew Candish, my other half at the time. Robert Kelly, who was a guy who was making a documentary about all the Doctor Who locations, and Andrew Candish was an exploding Dalek from Remembrance of the Daleks. And it was that was the first time we actually met, which was lovely, and and then of course Prison in the Sun. My first one, my joint one with Paul, was in the July, and we never looked back after that. Really.
So I'd not long known Lisa before she was my wife.
Yes.
God, that was fast work.
It was. It was.
It's got quite a line-up.
Well, I was going to say that was Lisa's, but I did co-write the script, so I suppose I was kind of.
You had to pretend to drive my car, didn't you?
I did. All I did was just get in it and hold the steering wheel, and nothing else happened because I don't drive.
Were you below pressing the pedals?
No. Then we shot it from inside the car, didn't we?
Yeah.
We discovered you. It's not probably a good idea to make 90 minutes of film in 3 days. Well, 2.5 days. It was
quite hectic.
It was mental.
Lisa and I must have been the worst car drivers. Neither
neither of us could drive.
So,
but yeah, you're saying about Robert Kelly's location filming. I remember, I think it was possibly later in 1993 when I had to pretend to be Tegan from
running
from Resurrection of the Daleks, and I got chased by two passers-by who somebody had persuaded were going to be on the television.
Oh, we were always pulling that one, weren't we?
Yeah.
It's going to be on telly.
So, yeah.
Well, before we look at some of the other TV highlights of 1993, I think it's probably time to share what I've pre-recorded with Martin and Muffley separately. Not they didn't talk together, but so whilst we get ready for more TV talk, let's have a listen to our guests who couldn't be here today and see what they've got to say. Hey, Muffley, is that you? Are you there?
Yes, I am here. I am here. Yes.
Good to see you. Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's our New Year episode, and I'm trying to get as many people together as possible. It's not always possible to get everybody at the same time, but I just wondered how you were doing and what you're looking forward to in 2023.
Well, yeah, Christmas was, I think I've mentioned before, sort of quite sedate when we were in France. It was good to get away. And New Year's Eve was very quiet, just a few drinks and nibbles. But as for the new year, it's going to be an interesting one because there's going to be more music. There's going to be more vocoder wrangling probably. But then also with some of the tracks, there's a potential to maybe go into a studio and sort of get more of a sort of live feel to them. So getting a brass section, for example, so it's got more of a sort of, let's say, an Amy Winehouse vibe to it, sort of, that kind of thing going on. But it will depend on sort of various factors. I mean, there is the issue that my work is undergoing a big reorganisation at the moment, so not that I'm fretting about it too much, but I've got to bear that in mind, especially in terms of sort of spending money on going to recording studios and stuff, because obviously that could be quite pricey. But the thing that I know we've both got in common this year, is we both turned 50.
No, that can't be true.
I know, it's unbelievable, isn't it? So I've got two friends that I went to school with, and we are we've done a thing in the past. So for our 40th, we went to India. It's kind of like a sort of, our trips are kind of like a sort of Top Gear sort of special, but without the sort of annoying borishness. It's more sort of, sort of a nicer experience. And for this 50th, we're going to Dubai. So it was sort of where we decided upon eventually. The two people in question, one of them lives in Singapore, who I saw last year when I was on holiday, and the other one lives in Paris. And we decided that Dubai was going to be the place to go to. I mean, I've been through Dubai airport a few times, but it's going to be a bit of a new one on me. So we'll see how that goes. As for the rest of the year, I just got to wait and see, really. But looking forward to doing some more music, maybe getting back into doing some writing as well. But we'll see how things go. And I know we're going to be doing some bits of podcast stuff, and we've got something lined up for Around the Archives already, which I don't know if we want to keep it a secret.
Yeah, we probably ought to for them.
I think so we've decided on something, listeners, which I mean, it's not a subject that hasn't ever been touched before, but let's just say for me, the episode of the thing we're talking about has a kind of sort of bigger meaning as to sort of where I grew up, so I'll just leave it like that. It's not Children of the Stones, by the way. There's nothing to do with stone circles.
No, we have to remain. Listeners should just have to wait and see.
Sure.
But yes, well, I just wanted to reassure you, I got through episode 600. Okay.
Wow, you got it over the line. Yeah, that's all good. Yeah,
things aren't quite back to normal, but they're better than they were, and I guess we'll see what. We'll see what happens. I'll keep in touch with Sniffy Martin. He'll keep me up to date, I suppose. But
sure, The one thing I've just remembered as well is that you should hopefully be coming up to visit at some point. And I think you enjoy that because there's a park near where I live, which I think you'll have some good experience. Well, I say good experiences. You'll have some experiences. I mean, whether they're good or not, obviously, because probably some demons or vampires or
jelly monsters.
Jelly monsters will turn up, and whether sort of Yeti Uncle John's going to disgrace himself when he comes up as well.
Probably.
We'll just have to wait and see. I have checked with the council. It is okay to land the spaceship in the park, but he's got to avoid the cricket pitch and also the bowling green. That's the provisos.
Sure.
Yeah,
of course. I've got to still remember we do have problems with Ick and his contract. I'm hoping he'll renew, but perhaps a trip up to you will be part of the sweetener of the deal. But he doesn't get to. He does do a lot of these transatlantic hops to over to Pickle Hollow, though. I think,
of course, yeah.
But I think if he comes to see you, we'll try to make sure that he doesn't feel like he's just being used to the taxi service. But...
No, there's also the Japanese garden, which has a certain sort of mysterious quality, and some of the sort of Japanese plants there have a sort of alien quality to them as well. So he might feel quite at home, actually.
I think you'll like that. Yeah. That sounds good. Sounds promising. Okay, well, I better get back to the rest of the episode, but we needed to speak to you a bit as it was a special first episode of the year and all that, and may 2023 be a good year for us all, and you out there, listeners, of course.
Indeed, yes, I second that. Indeed.
Okay, right. Well, bye for now.
Bye.
Oh dear, this is very frustrating. I wish I could sort... Oh, just a minute, I recognise... Martin,
Hello,
is that you?
Yes, I'm calling you from outer space. No, I'm not. I'm calling you from the grim north, lad. The grim north, aye.
Listeners, this is Martin Holmes, not Snippy Martin, by the way.
No. Although, the way things are at the moment.
Well, yeah, good point. But I'm just having a bit of trouble. I don't know if you've got any advice. I'm trying to get this machine working. What do you know about machines?
Oh, machine! Oh, Lord above. Well, long ago, I did used to maintain my own Ford Escort. I do remember when I had my Ford Cortina. I do remember. It didn't go well, but we'll try.
Well, this machine is quite important because it is because I'm kind of responsible for until it starts working. We're kind of stuck in 2022.
How did you get that gig? The switchover gig? The switchoverator machine?
Yeah.
Click over the clockwork clunk into the new year. Blimey, I thought that was Big Ben's job.
Well, it's because I did over 100 episodes this year. I got a special prize. A special prize, yeah.
See, that's the thing. Sometimes these special prizes, best to not quite qualify. That's what I always think.
Yeah,
let somebody else get the special prize because you never know what special prizes.
Yeah, and I'm beginning to see that. It's a bit of a responsibility, a bit of a burden. There's no instructions.
No, what?
There's no real.
Are you sure? Have you looked behind the clock?
I'm not sure. Well, I'm sure I'll keep looking. There must be something, but
it might be written in Japanese, but there would definitely be some instruction. You didn't get it from IKEA.
Well, I don't know where it came. I just accepted the gig, and I thought it would be quite prestigious, but it's actually quite irritating and annoying.
Team foot. Build yourself the team foot. Yes.
I think I should just have a little rest. It always seems to be when I see you, I'm out of breath and
yes.
Yes.
Is it a big machine?
It's
quite. Is it like pocket sized?
It's quite big. It's quite big.
I mean, I'm not You know, I don't want to suggest that you don't know what you're doing, or somebody's left you in the lurch. But I mean, is it something that is it a one person operator, or is it something that actually requires sort of several people?
It's hard to tell. It's very. It looks very.
Is there a big red button?
There is a big red button, but I'm worried about those. Big red buttons sometimes mean bang.
Yeah, bad things. Well, are there any other big buttons of different?
I've seen enough Doctor Who to know that when he goes under the console, bad things can happen. So
it's like cut the blue wire, cut the red wire, cut the black wire, cut the green wire. Obviously, who killed Toby Wren? You know, you have to be careful about these things.
And what happens if we wiggle your ears? We might end up getting stuck in a time loop.
Wiggle my ears. God knows what that might do. They just come off, quite frankly. The way things are dropping off me at the moment,
we might be stuck in a time loop.
Right. So there is definitely a red button.
There's a red button. Yeah.
Is there? Have you walked around the whole thing? Have you walked
around it?
Is there a big sort of yellow button on the opposite side, or describe it to me? Is it clockwork? Is it made of metal? Is it a big cylinder?
Sort of weird, like shape, like I couldn't. It's not. It's like it can't.
Is it a polydecahedron?
Yeah, it's like it can't decide which one it wants to be.
But
it feels like it feels like it feels like it's been hastily decorated by one of those like a BBC set dresser. It feels like they've made more of an effort one side, not expecting the cameras to get the stuff. When I walked around it, the stuff around the back, you could see how you can see the structure and the bits of wood, and whereas around the front it looks very professional, but they've not done it all the way around.
Bicycle chain, pistons.
It's very. It's kind of. I came in being quite. It's like those things where you see something that looks impressive, but when you see behind the scenes, it's like, it's being made by an egg with an egg box or something.
Well, the most important question is, what colour is it?
It is sort of chrome, sort of shiny.
So you can see yourself, you can see your face in it.
It's
highly polished.
At least I know I'm not a vampire. I can see my reflection.
That's
that was reassuring.
Yes. Is it showing off your gown to its fullest extent?
It is.
Well, it has its uses then. I mean, you can check your makeup and your hair and things.
What is it they say when people have problems with their computers?
Switch it off, switch it on again.
Do you think it's worth trying?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, how late are we for the year starting?
I don't think anyone's noticed yet.
Right, there's a lot of alcohol about, really.
Yeah, everyone's partying. It's just the countdown's taking a bit longer than usual.
The only real problem is if Jules Holland is, on his last legs. If he's just sitting there with bleeding piano fingers, it's possibly a problem.
But what musicians are like. They always,
So we're
do an extra
sort
number.
of minutes rather
now.
We're
minutes. I think.
So there's not going to be a massive dimensional time shift to shift everything back on track. Then.
No, but I just don't know the implications. What about episodes of Vision on Sound? They could end up going out late. That's going to
they often do, to be fair, if at all. Quite frankly, but I mean, it's usually a question. No, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. We do have a New Year's Day show actually.
I think
whether it actually appears, I don't know.
I think I'm going to go for the reboot, the Control-Alt-Delete thing.
Is there a lever? Is there a lever? Is there a big fatty lever?
There's round the back. There was. I think I'm going to resist pressing the big.
What I'm saying is, do you want me to try and hold the lever down while you push the button? Would that
maybe one of us?
Or is it just a question of finding the plug?
I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe one of us should do the plug. One of us should press the red button. I don't know. Which one do you want?
I like the plan. I think you complicated electrics. I'll stand here by the button while you do the plug.
Okay, I'm going around the back. So just
okay. So I'll hold the button down while
I'm going around. I'm going around the back. Going around the back. Okay. Can you still hear me? Okay.
Pardon?
Can you still hear me? Okay.
Yes, of course I can. Sorry.
Okay, right. I'm going to I'm going to turn it, put it out, pull the plug out, and then I'm going to put it back in. So, and then when I push it back in, when I'll say go, and then you press the red button.
Right. Okay.
Right. So I'm pulling out the plug now, and now I'm going to push it back in, and I'm going to press the thing. And now you press the red button now.
Right.
Something's happening. Something's definitely happening.
Wow. Ooh, I feel all
yes.
renewed.
See, the clocks are ticking again. The date
forward.
It's yes. Oh, thank goodness. Yeah. I think it's the 1st of January 2023. Oh, we did it together. We did it. Oh, that's good.
If I'd realised, I would have bought my blowy buzzer thing, but I didn't.
Well, you know,
never mind. I'll just go hurrah and make tooting noises.
Well, one of the reasons one of the reasons I took this job was so I could avoid having to go to a New Year's party. So, are
you hearing them though? Are you hearing them across the horizon?
Yeah, I think so. I can hear things.
Are the fireworks going on?
I think so. I think it's all good. Yeah, I think it's all good. I think we've done it. It's right.
Declared World War III around here. Yeah.
So we just have to. Now we can just go back to our editing rooms and edit more episodes of our podcasts.
Precisely. Well, bear that in mind about the 00s. You know, bit of a time shift. We've time shifted slightly anyway. So you never. I mean, does this now mean that you've got less time in the new year to do the same number of episodes?
I'm sure it'll just balance itself out. Is it a leap year this year? I'm not sure.
No. I think you've got this. Well, this is the thing, isn't it? You see, putting time out of whack, the whole year is going to feel strange.
I don't think.
Then again, it's the Shy Life podcast. It's always going to feel strange.
I'm glad you were here to help, and
always a pleasure.
Yes, and we'll be. We've got some episodes in the can, and we'll have more Chatterbox episodes throughout the year. So
try and get back.
At least we can actually get on and do it now that the year has started. So, okie dokie. Well, I better let you go, and I'm sure you. Yeah.
Oh yes, I've got sleeping to do. Definitely. Yeah.
Sleeping to do. Yes. Okay, right. I suppose I better sweep up, and then I'm going home.
So that was the prize. You get to sweep up.
Oh no! I had a box. They gave me a box of Maltesers, gold-plated Maltesers.
Oh, are you sure?
Well, no, not really. I think it might just be gold wrap. But
okay. I was thinking that would do your teeth.
Yeah. Anyway, see you soon. Anyway, thanks for all the help. Thanks for all the help.
Always a pleasure.
Oh dear. Right. Yes. There we go. That was fun. I'm not. I can't. Well, one of those conversations hasn't been recorded yet, so I definitely don't even know what's going on. So yes, 1993 in British TV, but I'm sure so much of British TV involves US shows as well. That.
Hey, before Paul, I got a question that can lead into this. And I just want to see if you all think my perception is true or not. And my perception is that I listen to a lot of podcasts from the UK, and so many of them are about pop culture, television, and movies. And I just wondered if you feel what I feel is that somehow there's a keener interest in that where you guys live than here, or maybe it's just. Well, I don't know. Do you have any feelings about that?
Well, I suppose I'll say my thoughts first, but I certainly feel with our group, although Doctor Who was the thing that we were all into, because it finished in 1989 originally. We had to find other things to do, so it just made sense to kind of explore other maybe associated shows or other old shows from the same era.
Some of which we remember,
yeah,
because we were all about the same age. And from sort of 90 onwards, Andrew used to come to my house on a Sunday, and Paul would be there, and our friend Keith would be there, and he'd bring round a different show, or a whole lot of new different shows that we might have heard of but never seen. And so there's from that point, for several years we had a feast of stuff, exploration.
Also, I don't think it didn't have to be sci-fi. It could still be, because people involved with Doctor Who were involved with things like the Avengers, which, although it has sci-fi elements, is more spy-ish, I suppose. And yeah, I mean, and then I think we all had our own shows that we liked. Like I have my Bergerac and Prisoner Cell Block H and Sons and Daughters, and then certainly more recently, Warren and Andrew have talked a lot about Z cars and things like that, which maybe I don't know if it's easier to come by than it was back then. I don't remember people talking about it so much in the 90s, but
one piece of TV I remember from 93 was right at the end of 93, there was the great big plane crash in Emmerdale, which was a big story, very controversial, probably not in very good taste, but I remember following that.
Wasn't it badly timed because wasn't it coming up to one of the anniversaries of Lockerbie, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think probably. Yeah, it was extremely controversial at the time, and actually, pretty gruesome in some places.
Is that the accident that had the Scottish soccer players, or is?
Yeah,
it was. Okay, I remember. I remember that.
No, Lockerbie was the Pan Am jet that had the bomb on board. It didn't it? That exploded.
Oh, okay.
Are you thinking of the Manchester United players in 1956 in Germany?
Me? No. I was thinking of Lockerbie, definitely.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember that was it. That's what I remember. One of the big kind of international plane incidences.
You asked a question earlier, Toppy, that about the. If we could come back to it, you said there is a I can't say it now. I borrowed someone else's teeth.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah. prolific amount of podcasts on film and TV and pop culture, and we are awash, I think, but there is so much that is the same amongst them as well, and there are very few that sort of stand up through head and shoulders above of the others. But I think a lot of people are creators who are unsure what to do, play on the side of safety and think, well, what are people going to identify more with? I'll go something safe. I'll go television. I'll go radio. I'll go music. I'll go films. And I think that's what people initially start out with sometimes, is going down that, because they feel safe doing it as well. And they know that it's a good win, isn't it? Because people like the entertainment factor of the podcast. They like the looking into that entertainment genre as well, I think. So I think, we are awash, but I always think it's a starting off platform, isn't it? If you use something that you know is going to be popular, then you're going to build your confidence up to perhaps go to something that may end up being more niche, but you feel more confident in doing it.
One thing I will say is that, our sort of group of friends are all of a sort of similar age, obviously. And I think we come from that period in the sort of mid to late 80s when old stuff did start to become more available through repeats of things like Hancock's Half Hour and Steptoe and what have you. But also you had video recorders becoming more available as well. So it was that whole thing about being just able to swap programs with people and say, I've seen this, would you like a copy?
Absolutely.
And that feeds into the early 90s up into 93 when all the Doctor Who stories started being released on video. So, and again, for a lot of people, this was a journey of discovery, wasn't it?
Yes.
Because a lot of this stuff we just had not been able to see.
No.
So there was always something happening every month.
There was a release every month.
Yeah.
It was interesting how we relied before then on people's memories.
Yeah.
And when we would see a story that perhaps we would think in a series that held a lot of regard in people's memories, when you actually saw it, it didn't cut the mustard to a certain extent. It didn't reach what you expected. But yet stories that had been... the Gunfighters, for example, have been done down for so many years, is a absolute genius piece of work.
It is.
But yet we were told this is a terrible, terrible set of 4 episodes. And it's, the ratings are terrible, so they must have reflected what we feel. But if you watch it now, it's so imitative and it's so creative and it's witty, but it's all the characters. I mean, William Hartnell was playing his full strength to his full strength. He loved doing comedy. All right, he's a character actor, but he's very good at comedy and comedy timing, and he knew exactly what he was doing in The Gunfighters. But yet you put him in an exceptionally serious piece of sci-fi, and he does seem to be all at sea because he's going, I'm going to have to be grumpy in this. I'm going to have to do this. He's looking at Cotton's script and he's going, this is wonderful. And he plays it so wonderfully well. But yet we were told before we ever saw that, before it ever became commercially available, what a terrible story it was.
When I joined the Doctor Who Appreciation Society in 1980, the first thing I learned was don't believe the hype. Don't believe the big voice. Always make up your own mind.
It's difficult to know about other groups of fans because we only really knew we didn't really fan groups didn't necessarily merge in the same way. But I don't know. I like to think that we were a little bit different because when we started making our films, we did do like the spoof on Genesis of the Daleks, or we did do the spoof on Blake, but then we started doing our own thing because it was kind of, which I'm pleased we did, because there's only so much. I don't know. I have a bit of a hang up about only doing things that are in awe of other people's creativity. Mm-hmm. I'm glad we did things that were unique to us, like the scripts that Nick wrote or Sutton Park. Nobody else did those, and they're not, even though they may, Sutton Park may have spoofed things, it was still its own thing. So I'm glad we didn't spend the whole of the 90s just doing more like us pretending to be Doctor Who. We did adapt. We did evolve.
When we did Rayface Shift, we were our own people. We very, very much had our own little roles in that, and we did our own thing. I don't think we tried to emulate anybody else.
I don't know if other fan groups did kind of move away from only being in awe of the shows they were fans of and did their own unique things. They probably did, but we just don't know about them.
I think I certainly wouldn't have wanted. There's a good launching post.
Yes.
But you did want to go on and do your own thing. It wouldn't have been satisfying to have done sort of like a different TV show spoof each time. That just wouldn't have.
I'm looking at this list of things from 1993, and there's a lot of things, but they're not very interesting. So I'm just trying to pick that. Or they seem very inconsequential. So I'm looking for some that are a little bit more like ITV introduced the third weekly episode of The Bill. Not exactly the most exciting fact. So I'm trying to find something that's a little bit more groundbreaking than that. I mean, from an American point of view, on the 20th of January 1993, BBC Two airs live coverage of the inauguration of Bill Clinton as the 42nd president of the United States. Now, BBC Two is a sort of secondary channel, so I guess it was. I don't know how many people knew it was on, or whether it was trumpeted at the time. It wasn't put on the main channel, but then I don't. I mean, some of the facts I can see here, I either dispute or if it was the case, then I'm not sure what happened. For instance, on the 7th of February, this is very personal to me, having completed its initial run of 692 episodes of Prisoner Cell Block H in December 1991, Central begins rerunning the series from the first episode. It is shown weekly, late on Sunday evenings, till the end of 1994. Now, I debate that to a certain extent, because I was in that region in those years. And I do remember, I didn't have great TV reception, but I do remember they did start to show it again, and I was quite excited. But my memory was that it kind of, certainly don't remember it running to the end of 1994. I thought that they kind of got bored a lot sooner than that, unless I didn't realise it was Sunday evenings, or at least, or my TV reception was so bad I just had to give up trying to even watch it, which is possible because I did have bad TV reception for a lot of the early to mid 90s because of places I lived which didn't have good reception. But trying to see what. Apparently,
did we have a resurgence of Jerry Anderson.
Yes,
in the early 90s, didn't we?
BBC Two repeats.
Grabbed Thunderbirds, and it went viral with the kids.
That's right. About
more Captain Scarlet, I think.
It was about 92. So I at the time I was regularly having a lunch on my day off with Graham Leithman, who does all the artwork for the Anderson stuff. And he would after lunch we'd go into a toy shop, and he'd always look at the artwork on the toy shop and think, have I been paid for this? You know, he would get it all off and think, yeah, check it all out.
Well, on the 16th of February, we have the final episode of Count Duckula. That's again not necessarily the most groundbreaking.
Did he get staked or something at the end? In slow motion.
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Peter Cushing came in and staked him, then put him in a pancake roll and ate him.
Now, I didn't necessarily know this because I don't think I was that big a fan of the TV show The Detectives, but on the 24th of February, apparently John Nettles makes a cameo appearance as Jim Bergerac in an episode of The Detectives set in Jersey. Well, that's about 2 years after Bergerac. I guess it's like Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred appearing as the Doctor and Ace in that science show after the series had actually finished. But now, one of the controversial programs of the year, in that it had come from a very popular book, but the TV show wasn't successful. In February, BBC aired the 12-part adaptation of A Year in Provence with John Thaw and Lindsay Duncan, which was considered very smug at the time.
Watching that when I spent a lot of time in Bristol.
It got panned, didn't it? It did get panned.
Fiance. And I remember Year in Provence being around. Not interested, really.
I have it on DVD, but I think I've watched like the first disc, and I just don't remember. I think my main thing about it was just that it wasn't. I mean, I thought I would like it because of the locations, but I just don't think there was enough going on.
Any car chases? Does he nick anyone?
I wasn't, but I can cope without car chases. I just don't think there was.
No, it's not good. Unless he's in his Granada.
Yeah.
I've never found John Thaw interesting, I have to say. I like the Sweeney, but
never buys around in Morse, does he? I've never seen him buy around in Morse.
He's a senior officer. It's his right not to buy around. So.
It's also bloody expensive in Oxford.
It is expensive in Oxford, yeah. And tiny in the White Horse.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got the camera crew in there.
Is the beer good in Oxford, though?
Depends where you go, doesn't it?
Some of it, yeah. We had Spider-Man run past us once, didn't we, in Oxford?
Yeah.
What, towards the gents, or...?
No, we were sat outside a pub and, Spider-Man ran past you.
That always worries me. If Spider-Man needs the gents, he's got no zip.
That's Kenny Everett.
Yeah, I was going to lead on to the Kenny Everett joke.
Now, sometimes when we do these talks about TV, it mentions films that got their TV debuts, and I think Warren and I noticed that the more you get into the 90s, the quicker it is for turnaround. I think some of the films in the 80s that were being shown were like they were already like nearly 20 years old or 10 years old, but it's getting a lot more. On the 18th of April, the network television premiere of Nuns on the Run on Channel 4. So that was like
I watched that the other night. It's still
Eric
good.
And Robbie Coltrane.
When that was in tribute to Robbie Coltrane, I watched that.
At the end of April, this is again very, very me, I'm afraid. And very pretty inconsequential, but episode 1681 of Neighbours was screened, which is the first episode that does not feature the 1980s style titles and theme music. And it was an episode that had shown in Australia in 1992. I'm not even sure I was watching Neighbours by 93, because I would have been at university, too busy making Sutton Park. Too busy going to lectures and working really hard.
I never saw you in any episodes where you did that.
I didn't film The Boys.
So what was the new title sequence like? Was it like going through space with stars and a neon logo or something? What was it?
Does Bouncer's face appear? That's all I want to know.
Bouncer's face appearing in the stars. You know?
In May, Pete Beale made his final appearance on EastEnders.
Twinkle.
Yeah.
I always used to think he said twinkle, but never mind.
No.
Right, twinkle.
Twinkle.
Apparently he went on the run with an old flame and then was killed off screen.
That's right, that's Petra Markham.
By a gangster.
That was.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Wow. That's why as Toby, you go all Pete Beale on in one scene in Prison in the Sun, don't you?
Oh God, I do, don't I? Oh God.
Twinkle.
Right, twinkle.
That was a little tribute to it, bless you.
I was reminded here that in May 1993, it was a quite exciting year for UK with the Eurovision Song Contest. We came second, but I remember watching that, and it was literally down to the final vote as to. It was a year that Sonia represented us with a song called "Better the Devil You Know," not the Kylie song, but another song with that title. I remember it being right down to the final country as to whether we were going to win, and we didn't win. But
Poor old Sonia.
That red Sonia.
She was actually.
She was redhead, wasn't she?
Yes.
Got that bit.
Let me see what else.
She had a big mouth. I remember that. Bless her.
Oh, Warren!
No, I meant it in a nice way. I didn't finish. She has a big mouth, so she could always. She always reminded us of being happy, chirpy, smiling, and she had a loud voice.
Okay, do you want to stop digging now, Warren?
Could someone lower me the oxygen down?
I'm with you on that one. Yeah.
On the 10th of June, Les Dawson died. He was known for. He had his own shows, didn't he? But he was known for Blankety Blank in the 80s.
Tunnel of Guest par excellence.
Apparently, there was a show called Stingray that started on Sky One, and it wasn't anything to do with the '60s show, and it caused confusion.
They tuned in expecting puppets, and they actually got a sting.
Yeah,
it's really got a stingray.
July 1993. 9th of July, BBC One airs the final episode of El Dorado. That's the soap opera that lasted about a year and wasn't a big success.
Again, the baddie in that, Marcus Tandy, Keith, when we did Prison in the Sun, Keith, in tribute to that, because we shot it a few weeks later, got out his sunglasses and did his best Marcus Tandy impression.
I think that was one of the cases where the ratings were actually going up again by the time they'd acted it, but I guess they want a quick turnaround of success. It says on the 26th of August, June Brown makes her last appearance on EastEnders as Dot Cotton, although she would return in 1997. So, and then I think she was in it loads of times after that. So it's not. It's just a break, having a break. But what else have we got? 6th of September, debut of the Trolley Dash game show Supermarket Sweep with Dale Winton, which I think is probably the first thing he did where he started becoming sort of well known.
Annoying.
Anne Robinson makes her debut as presenter of Watchdog, and
taking over from Lynn's Fold.
I was going to say, yeah, we were watching UFO the other day, and when the Watchdog satellite came up, Ali and I both went into Lynn Fawkes Wood impressions. It's Watchdog.
He beat me to it. I was going to go Watchdog.
We've got the network premiere of Dead Poets Society in September. That comes from 1989. I saw that loads of times at the cinema.
Is that Matt Damon?
Sorry?
Is it Matt? Who's it with?
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, yeah, but isn't one of them Matt Damon?
I think it's a bit early for Matt Damon. I don't.
Matt Damon.
I don't think he was.
Matt Damon.
Unless he was in it, so just wasn't.
I'll have to look it up now.
If he was in it, then it would have been as not as the main character. He wasn't one of them. He wasn't well known at that point if he was in it. But oh yes, oh no,
Ethan Hawke. That was it. Sorry. Ethan Hawke.
Oh, Ethan Hawke. Yeah.
Easily confused.
The US superhero series Mighty Morphin Power Rangers makes its UK debut. Although it was on Sky One, so I don't know how many people noticed.
My godson was a big Power Rangers fan. And of course, with his Plymouth accent, he was "Go Power Rangers."
I think if I had been the right age, if that had come around, I probably would have been nuts about that show. But it was far too late. I was far too much of an adult.
Certainly not convincing anyone.
I often dress up as one, but in the privacy of my own home.
I should hope so.
Oh no, not the spandex. No, not again.
The 23rd of November 1993 was the 30th anniversary of Doctor Who, and on the 26th and 27th of November we got the 2-part Not At All special Dimensions in Time.
And we got Planet of the Daleks repeated.
Probably more yeah.
And Kevin Davies' documentary.
Yes, more than 30 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Aqueduct.
They refer to it here as the first new Doctor Who episode since the series ended. I don't think anyone really seriously considers it canon.
No.
Wikipedia.
Although, hasn't someone done novelization?
Novelization.
So what do they do when they have to come to the bit where you choose who saves the day?
It's like a choose your own adventure.
Oh, Big Ron or Mandy, wasn't it?
I prefer Big Ron doing it.
That was in 3D, we should say about the 3D.
It was in 3D. I couldn't see the 3D.
You couldn't see the 3D?
No.
And it features a cameo by Annette Badlands, on the promotional thing where Sylvester comes out of the TARDIS and the woman watching is Annette Badlands.
All right.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you got free glasses with the Radio Times,
Yes.
didn't you?
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
Wish they did free glasses with it now. I could do it. You bet.
Yes, your controversial episode of Emmerdale is mentioned on the 30th of December.
That's right. I knew it was right at the end. But yeah, all those that didn't renew their contract were toast.
I think he does it. I think he does it every year now. But 31st of December 1993 was the first Jules Holland Hootenanny.
And I tell you what happened that day. Keith and I went to Trafalgar Square. We spent the whole of that night wandering the streets of London all night long. And
did you get any offers?
It was very interesting seeing the capital completely dead. And we went home in the milk train, never to be repeated.
I've done that once before. No, I can. It's one of those things you do if you live up that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just to get it out of the way with one. And you get there, it's over and done with within 10 minutes, and then you wonder how the hell you're going to get home, and why the hell did I do this in the first place?
And there's 2,000 people trying to get into one McDonald's.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
Let's have a pee, and then suddenly everyone disappears. Either I don't know if they go to ground or go to clubs or something, but it's streets and streets of absolute emptiness.
Warren,
hello.
Am I imagining this, or did you once say you met Jules Holland?
No, not met Jules. No, not met Jules Holland.
I'm imagining it then. Must have been a dream.
By 93, I think it'll always be being engaged. All my adventures in Bristol, which can be seen on one of the episodes of Sutton Park.
Yes.
And the starting of the film, The Prison in the Sun. And very exciting.
Looking at a list of shows that debuted in 1993, and I'm finding it difficult to keep awake. Not a classic year, I'm afraid.
Hey, let me sling some of these shows from the U.S. from 93. Now, I tried to think while you were talking. I tried to hammer my brain to remember them on my own, and I just couldn't remember anything from '93, so I had to call up a list. And so here's some interesting things. The X-Files started in '93. That was huge here.
Yeah, definitely.
Frasier. Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like some of your shows we got later, or they came. I have a feeling like X-Files may even have gone via Sky One to start with, before it came onto mainstream TV.
It was on mainstream by '94.
Maybe
it definitely was on Sky. Yeah, because the BBC bought it up quickly, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, now see, I didn't watch it when it first came on because it was on Fox Network, which was relatively new. And I just got the impression from what little I'd seen is that they did subpar stuff. So I never watched the X-Files until much, much later. But here's a few. Frasier started that year. That was super popular.
Yeah.
Walker, Texas Rangers, Star Trek, Deep Space Nine.
Oh, Texas Ranger. Ali's been watching that on CB Action or whatever. Is CBS Action?
CBS.
CBS, yeah.
Is that Chuck Norris?
Yeah.
Yes.
Chuck Norris.
Yeah. It's like I come home from work sometimes and she's there watching it.
My dad used to love that, Walker, Texas Ranger. Yeah.
Yeah. In the U.S., Chuck Norris has become one of those stars that's gone deep right wing, and nobody's supposed to like him anymore. Cancel culture. That was also the year NYPD Blue came out. I definitely watched that. It seems that was good. Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, Babylon 5 came out that year. Now here's a couple. I want to see if these came from the UK because a few of these I think did. Do you guys remember Cracker?
Yes.
Was it the because I'm not sure if that's one of those shows that got remade in America. Is this the British version or the American?
I don't know. It starred Robbie Coltrane.
Oh yeah, that was the version we saw.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never used to watch it, but I remember it being on.
Yeah.
Let me run this one by, because this one also seems to me it must have come from you guys. It was called Sharp.
Yes.
Oh, Lisa, tell him about Sharp.
Yes.
Come on, what's Sharp, Lisa?
Sharp is it's a series about the Napoleonic Wars and an officer of the 95th Regiment, which is the Green Jackets.
Because Lisa's done a whole episode of Vision on Sound about Sharp.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is starring Paul McGann.
And then he busted his leg.
Yeah, then he played football and hurt his knee and had to be flown back to England. And they got Sean Bean in. It's one of the few things Sean Bean doesn't die in. So
But that ran a long time. It says here it went from 93 to 2008.
yeah, there was a big gap. It did 93 to 97. Then it came back in 2007, 2008. So there's a bit of a gap.
Lisa, I remember you taking me around a museum a war museum with a very Sharpie kind of era warfare, and soldiering.
Yes, that's the I can't remember what it's called now. It's the museum the Brigadier pulls up outside in
National Army Museum.
Yes,
That's
in London. Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
That was the only reason I wanted to go.
Yeah.
Sharpie bits.
Yeah. Because the Brigadier had been there.
I think I got a couple more from Britain, but here I just ran across the lowest of lows from 93, Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, God. We went to see the film, didn't we, Joe?
I took you to the cinema to see that, didn't I?
You quite liked it, didn't you?
You must have hated him.
In front of my auntie Dorothy, you said, we're just going to see Beavis and Butthead. You jolly good.
Somewhere in the house, I've got the script book of the movie.
Up in the spare room.
Oh,
no.
Yes.
I have.
Take it out and burn it quickly.
It was 97, the movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It took me off to the cinema to see that. Yeah, it's fun.
I don't know if I'm right in saying, but certainly my experience was that you mentioned Deep Space Nine. I remember, but I think around this time I started flat sharing or house sharing with my friend Kerry, who university with and who he did a lot of Sutton Park. And I don't know whether Deep Space Nine was being quite when it was being shown on TV, but I remember him. But the videos were certainly out, and I remember him buying the videos as they came out. And the episodes I saw weren't on TV; they were from that. I don't know if the videos came out in advance of it being shown on TV, or whether again it was shown on a different channel. I'm not quite sure, but he was just buying it because he was collecting it anyway. But
I got a few more to run by you, and a couple of them I think are from the UK. Do you guys remember Sequest? That started in '93.
Sequest, yes.
Yeah, Wes Schneider.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
And the talking dolphin.
Stephanie Beecham. Yeah, the awful talking dolphin, and that there was a kid in it as well, wasn't it? It's always a kid.
It's always a kid. Yeah.
We had Diagnosis Murder with Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Mary Poppins.
Goodbye, Mary Poppins.
Okay, now this strikes me, it must have come from the UK. It's called Wycliffe.
Yes, that's Jack Shepherd.
Shepherd, yeah.
Yeah, in Cornwall. Possibly the most boring police series I've ever seen.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Oh, I'll buy you a drink for that, Lisa.
What happens in it then?
There are murders.
Oh, it has the most depressing titles in the world.
Yeah.
And all the characters are made of wood.
Yeah. The only interesting episode I've ever seen had Louise Jameson in it.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason. Because it's Louise Jameson, she instantly made it better.
Yeah.
So,
how about Peak Practice? That was 1993.
My dad used to watch that.
That's Morse's assistant, isn't it?
Yeah, Kevin Whately. Yeah, and
it says Gary Mavers, Simon Shepherd, Esther Coles, Marjorie Mason.
It's one of those series that had quite a few cast lists. So it starts off with one lot of people because it was set in a doctor's surgery, in a practice, and then they would leave and different doctors would come along. So it was quite a good series, really, in the fact that you could just keep reinventing it because you'd just get new actors and new characters in. So, and until it sort of ran out of steam at some point in the early 2000s, I guess, or the late 1990s.
You know what was super mega popular here and just was, oh God, I don't know how many years. All Creatures Great and Small.
Oh, All Creatures Grunt and Smell.
Yeah, was that originally from the late 70s, but it came and went.
Back it's come back now, hasn't
and
it?
It's come back as a totally different. But that's Peter Davison, who played the Fifth Doctor. That's the thing that he was known for when he was cast in Doctor Who. He was known for only All Creatures Great and Small. And
I have to say, the new series is absolutely lovely and has got the absolutely wonderful Samuel West as Siegfried, and it's brilliant. It's just as good as the original. So
I just got a couple more. This seems astonishing to me, but The Late Show with David Letterman started in '93. That's weird. Let's see. Seems like there was one more. What about? This might have been from the UK. Time Tracks.
I know, but I don't know much about it.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
How about this one? Do you guys remember Dr. Finlay?
Oh yes, Dr. Finlay.
Yes, that's a remake, isn't it? It's an ITV remake of the BBC sort of original with David Rintoul and Ian Bannon.
Yeah,
and Annette Crosby. Annette Crosby is
the village where they filmed the original in Scotland.
Well, it's interesting to me how many hits came to America at that time. That this would have been, because this is what I just read were the top 50 in '93. So all those UK shows I just mentioned were all in the top 50.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a quick question, Toppy? Because in the sort of late 80s, early 90s, the thing that was levelled mainly at the BBC was they were importing a hell of a load of American dramas over into this country. Mm-hmm. Did you have it in reverse over in the States, where you were awash of of British dramas in a particularly short period of time?
Well, it's funny. There, really early on, it seems to me we really had a lot, and that was in the age of UFO and the Avengers, and those puppet shows, and maybe that's just because I was a kid and I watched all those. But later on, not so much. What we had, I think, what we saw in America sometimes was strictly shown on public television, and we called it Masterpiece Theater, and it would be all British shows, and shot on video. I guess that was the thing, but you know, for whatever odd reason, I don't think that happened as much. I don't ever remember like an onslaught or just like tons of them. They would, I think probably based on those top 50 I just read, probably only the ones that really got ratings. That's what I imagine. The reason they, premiered here. But I don't think the reverse is, I don't think we got hammered with them.
It's a definite mystery, some of these things, but if you have a mystery, it's good to be able to metaglobalize. Metaglobalize. It's a weird word I have for you. In fact, I have a few weird words coming up. Metaglobalize means to mystify or to puzzle out.
Never heard of that word.
No, me neither. See what else if I was going to say, I just saw you titubate. What have I seen you do?
Oh, good Lord!
Not in this cold weather, surely.
I'll have to arrest you if you do that.
Titubate means to stagger or to stumble.
Ooh.
What, on the ice?
But it is New Year's
I did that yesterday.
Let me see. Some of these, I'm not going to pick any words I can't pronounce because I have enough of. Oh my goodness. What's subintelligator? Subintelligator. Implication understood though not stated. a word seen on the screen but not pronounced. What else? Oh. What if I say your salpiform? What am I saying? I'm saying that you are shaped like a barrel.
But the contents have aged well.
Yes. I think I do have two guests who are going to come on to do our final section of the show. I think you can probably guess who they are. Comedy, Yeti Uncle John, come and join us.
Come on down.
Say hello. Well, hello, guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Yeti Uncle John.
Oh, we've been waiting in the wings, haven't we, Cromitty? Oh, yes, we most certainly have. Oh, yes. Happy New Year, everybody. Oh, God.
Happy New Year.
Yes, so I've apologised to Cromitty for my behaviour. I want to thank you, Owen, for setting me on the right path, and I feel a lot better for.
Not a problem, son. You always had it in you.
Cromitty, am I being much nicer to you? Well, Cromitty, am I? Oh yes, you are. We are joking. No, you have encouraged me to become more confident, Warren. So I thank you for that.
It's good to hear. You always had it inside you.
I did, but I've had it removed. But anyway, so guys, what are you here to do? Well, I was going to do a little striptease first, and no. Oh, I'm just joking. But I wouldn't mind if you did that. But no, it doesn't work on audio. We've tried that before.
Right.
What we're going to do? We're going to do Would you rather? We're going to do a couple of would you rather questions and ask round the ring as to would they rather. Oh yes, all right. Sorry. So, Cromitty, if you want to read one, and yes, Uncle John read one. Let me get it all sorted out.
Can I top you up?
Oh, you can.
That don't work on radio either.
Yeah.
Is that one of the options?
These two have been knocking back the wine the whole episode. I don't know about you guys. I was on fizzy water, so you know.
Oh no, not the fizzy water.
Yes, I think we've done
93.
Yes. So I'm going to ask you: would you rather go a year without combing your hair or a year without deodorant? Well, I don't have any hair, so I think a year without deodorant. I would rather go a year without combing my hair because I don't have any hair to comb. Yeah. What about those of us with hair?
I have not very little hair, so I'd rather go without combing because
I go without.
Actually, I don't think I've combed my hair for 20 years now.
Well, definite go without comb for me. Yeah.
What about anybody else?
I'm lacking in the follicle department. However, I can always plait my chest hair, so I could go without doing that. Yeah.
Well, I think I've got a very high forehead, haven't I, Lisa?
Quite a hot forehead.
In the T-foul sense.
T-foul men. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I could. There's stuff there still, but yes. I could probably go without touching it.
Yeah.
That wasn't the question, was it?
No. Dear, oh dear.
I guess I could go without combing my hair, but it'd be very tangly though.
You get it cut quite regularly though, don't you?
Yes.
Well, more regularly than me.
Ladies do, yes.
Ladies do.
Ladies do.
Yeah.
Do ladies' hair grow faster then, do you think?
No, it just keeps it. Well, you get to a certain age in life when you realise there's nothing beats a good haircut because it helps you to look nice.
Ever since you grew hair, you could first sit on.
Yeah, I've never been able to sit on it. It's never got that long. That must be awkward because it must take forever to dry when you wash it. So.
Put it through a mangle.
Lisa, I got a question. I've heard a woman say this, and I want to know if this is true.
Okay.
She said she had long hair, and she said she cut it short, and for a week or so, it made her dizzy. Is that a thing?
I've never had long enough hair to try that out. Really, I don't think. It's barely. I think the longest I've ever had it got to just above my shoulders because I have very unruly hair. Once it gets past a certain length,
picks fights.
It likes. So so it has to sort of. That's why I get it cut regularly. Otherwise, it doesn't sit properly. So I blame my dad. My dad used to have to brill cream his hair to within an inch of its life to get it to stay the way. Otherwise, you look like Ken Dodd, as he would say. Mm-hmm. So Ken Dodd in full, Tatty-Hilarious mode.
Yeah, and thought number 2 for me is, I don't think I'd recognize Paul if he didn't have a cap on.
I don't think I would recognize me if I didn't have a cap.
I would second that.
There was a period where I didn't wear them as much. It's somewhere between when I did and now.
But I've got a picture of us in 1988, and you've got a cap there, and it's always been there.
And I think pretty much the most some part I did.
You'll rewrite scripts to put your cap on. I've done that before.
I've always wanted to buy him one with one of those little propellers on the top.
Yes.
Well, when I started losing my hair, it just seemed like, photos look better with a hat on rather than the shiny bald pate that kind of glows. So that's why I stuck my hat on. So it's never come off.
It's a good look.
Cromitty, what's your question? Oh, okay. Would you rather be an infamous villain or an unknown superhero? Ooh, interesting. I think an unknown superhero would be quite. I don't know. It depends. As long as I can pay the bills.
Well, I think I'm incapable of being a villain, as I'm just racked with guilt.
Yes. Yes.
Just generally.
Yes, I think I'd get too guilty as well. It's I'd spend the whole time worrying that I'd upset people.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'd like to be a supervillain, but, yeah.
Well, I already know what it's like to be an unknown podcaster, so I'm going to go with, I'd be fine with the unknown superhero. I'd have the same problem. I'd feel guilty. I'd worry constantly. So definitely the superhero.
I'm not sure. It depends what gadgets I get as the baddie.
Oh, good question.
If there's some devilishly good gadgets and I've got a good looking sidekick, then I might actually go with the bad. Also, infamous baddies always come back, don't they? They're always good.
You're right.
So you'd never be out of work.
I'm erring with Nick on this one, because Infinite Baddie, you talk to all the actors and they say they like to play a baddie.
Yes.
Because there's so much in the baddie. They say, with a nice, everyone knows you're going to be nice, and especially character actors who've always played nice people really hearken to play a good baddie.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could be a really nasty, evil baddie.
Oh no, I'd have to be.
I would be racked with guilt about it afterwards. I'd be a baddie, and then I'd apologise afterwards.
Yes.
Give it all back.
That's a nice compromise.
Maybe we could all be a baddie in the sense that Robin Hood was a baddie. I mean, he did steal.
It's a really good
but
idea.
He gave it to the rich, so.
I don't look good in tights, though.
And just imagine all the sort of actors you get to work with and sort of tie up and sort of say, you've interfered with my plans for the last time.
Oh, no, I want a lair in a hollowed-out volcano. That's what I want. Lots of TV screens there, showing lost episodes of TV programmes.
A hollowed-out gasometer, I want something too grandiose.
Cromitty, weren't you a baddie when you first came back on the Shy Life podcast? Oh, well, golly. Okay, thank you, John. Trust you to bring that up. Cromitty wasn't a baddie. He had a few years of hard times, hadn't you, Cromitty? Yes, I mean, I did live in your wall space for a bit and watch you, but I soon got... I soon recovered.
That reminds me, can I have my micro cameras back, please?
Sorry, yes, of course. Look, we might come back and have a couple more questions after the end theme, but before we go, I should just do a check on the podcast. Any New Year's resolutions for your podcast? Any things you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the next film episode coming out.
Yes, where we've got episodes that have been hiding in the archives for a while that will be coming out involving Nick. What is the cinematic sausage? Have you got any plans for?
I haven't got a clue. I'm going to delve deep into my sausage sack. And
I think we might be doing something about dinosaurs.
Oh yes,
Lisa's
Lisa's going to, Lisa's dinosaurs. I was going to ask you about that. Not at the moment, but yeah, Lisa's going to be.
I've got to watch it again, so.
Lisa's going to be watching programs where accountants are eaten by dinosaurs.
On the toilet.
On the toilets.
On the toilet. What it might be.
So we're raising our standards.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a fan of your sausage, Warren.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
How many times
we all like Warren's sausage. Yeah. Oh yes, definitely. I think we're talking cross purposes here. What about the Smellcast? And Matinee Minutia, what's going on?
Matinee Minutia will continue. We select them week by week, so I couldn't really tell you. I can tell you just the general way it seems to go is the creator and my co-host is younger than me, and his nostalgic era seems to be the 90s. And for me, my nostalgic era goes back to late 60s, early 70s, when it used to be that old movies were played on TV all the time. So I'll probably keep selecting the old movies, and DG will probably keep selecting things for the 90s. So we'll have a good mix.
And around the archives?
Well, our resolution is to try and get a couple of new voices on board.
Yes,
and we have spoken to people.
Yes.
And we need to sort of chase that up, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've fallen into a sort of quarterly release schedule at the moment, haven't we?
Have, yes.
And that seems to work for us.
Mhm.
But we already have some ideas for shows to cover.
Upcoming shows, yes.
Yeah. It's just the question of getting on with actually watching the shows concerned, isn't it?
Yes.
So,
I keep committing to myself to all these things, and I realise I don't actually have enough time to
actually watch the
any
stuff.
of them.
Yeah.
At the moment, so that's my New Year's resolution, to watch the things I've said I'm going to watch and do the podcasts with people. So,
but yeah, there are plans. And stay tuned.
Good,
excellent,
great. Well, thank you all for joining us. We're going to have to say goodbye now, but we will get Cromitty into Uncle John to ask us a couple more questions before we do say a final goodbye. But anyway, thanks. Thanks to Owen. Thanks to Andrew and Lisa and to Nick.
Thank you.
And to Toppy for showing up for the New Year's Day New Year's Chatterbox. And I'm sure we'll be doing more Chatterboxes in 2023, but we've got a lot of episodes already recorded and a lot of episodes that are planned for later in the year. So, yes, I beat my record this year.
I'll say.
Of number of episodes that went out. I went over. I did more than 100, which was
good Lord,
about 10 more than I'd ever done before. So
do you aim to beat it off next year? This year, sorry.
I might beat it off. Yeah, and I might try and do more episodes as well. But we'll see. Anyway, well, thanks for listening, and we'll be back.
He said beat off.
There's nothing to say that. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking part, and we'll be back again very soon.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay, guys. Two more questions for after the theme music. Go on, Cromitty, you go first. Okay. Would you rather have neighbours who are noisy or neighbours who are nosy?
Nosy. Definitely nosy, because we have noisy neighbours, and it's.
They're always banging, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're always
banging.
They're always at it, aren't they?
Inappropriate times of the day. Yes.
Yeah, he's been knocking that nail in for 2 years.
Yes.
Hasn't he?
Whoa! He likes a hammer. He must like that song. If I had a hammer.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer.
No, don't start him off.
I'd hammer in the evening. All over this land.
So,
well, he does.
Yes.
Paul Chandler does not do blues subject matter. Now stop it.
No, literally.
No, he does. He's knocking the nail in.
Yeah.
Seriously. He's hanging a picture up every night.
Have you not heard his episode about the Rear of the Year? That was a bit the blue places.
All right, I'm going to also go with. I'll definitely take nosy over noisy. Absolutely, nothing worse than noisy neighbors. Nothing.
Especially when you're trying to record.
Yes.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
We have intermittently noisy neighbours, but it's more the noise they make and how it irritates Toby that is the stressful thing. I can kind of plug my earphones in and forget about them, but it really makes Toby cross, which makes him less fun to be around. And that's so it's sort of it's sort of I get the brunt of his anger at the noisy neighbours, whereas nosy. I guess it depends how nosy, but.
I will go with nosy because at the moment, as I've discovered this evening, my neighbours taken up blowing things.
Oh.
So he's into
What, the trombone?
Aye up.
No, he's going for a clarinet. Actually, he's
a wind instrument.
A wind.
Oh,
I
dear.
came in this evening to be serenaded by really off key.
Oh,
a really off key. I didn't know whether to congratulate him on starting a new journey or tell him to shut up.
well, okay.
It's a thin dividing line.
All right. If you're adventurous, try this. Get one of those air horns, and the next time he starts playing that, just give him a blast.
I'm going to try that. I like a good air horn.
I'm not at all responsible for what might happen.
I go with nosy. I've been waiting for nosy neighbours for 10 years because we've been we love where we live. It's the gorgeous flats and everything. The only trouble is nobody talks to you. Nobody kind of interacts.
Sorry, I'll come around.
I would love to have.
When you mean interact, Nick, do you mean like having a big fruit bowl and?
Well, absolutely, yes. Or to knock on the door and ask for some sugar.
I'll come around.
That old trick.
Straight times of the day.
Right. Or someone, to knock on the door and sort of answer, and they'll be in their curlers and sort of saying, "Oh,"
and nothing else.
On a sad note, I think nosy neighbours actually would be of great value to the lady upstairs who was found dead after a whole week.
Oh my!
Very old lady, very independent. And on the Meals on Wheels circuit, but she they found her dead upstairs. So nosy we can certainly do with.
Oh dear.
Uncle John, you what's your question? I dread to think. Oh, I've got a great one. You shall really put the cat amongst the pigeons. Would you rather find a hidden camera in your bathroom or in your bedroom?
Oh dear.
I know the answer to that.
What's that then?
I'd rather find it in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Because then I would ask for the footage.
Oh, so you can see what you were dreaming about.
No! No, hang on.
Okay,
Let me finish. I'll explain my position.
Finish.
So I could see all the footage of the cats sitting on the bed.
Oh,
I could watch the cats for hours.
You could just go upstairs and watch them.
Yeah, but that involves going upstairs.
Okay.
What's this about my funny dreams?
You do have funny dreams.
You could get a periscope where you sit on the sofa that just goes up, couldn't you?
Martha would attack it.
Was I tossing and turning the other night and
Yes,
talking?
yes.
I was talking in my sleep, apparently.
You're a tosser in bed, are you?
You should record it. You could get more podcasts there.
It really depends who's actually planted it.
Yeah.
Why would they put a secret one in the bathroom? I mean, that's a bit pervy.
It's
a bit pervy either way. But I think bedroom, because then at least there'd be two of us embarrassed and not just the one. Safety in numbers. But no, I mean, if they really want to see it, then. But it depends who, really.
I think I would rather have a hidden camera in my bedroom as well, because my bedroom is so cold that I probably put on more clothes when I go to bed. And I have like a woolly hat, and I have about 2 duvets, and they're not going to see anything exciting other than maybe I'll be tossing the blankets around. Oh yeah. Yes, Uncle John. I often lose my hot water.
Building tents.
I often lose my hot water bottle in the night in the winter. But,
I never heard you call that before.
But I mean, I guess it could be. For me, it might depend on the time of year, because I guess I don't.
You're not even curious to know who planted it.
Well, yes, but if I didn't know or I wasn't sure, then I'd probably be safer to be in the bedroom. But
I disagree with all of you. No. Imagine. Cast your minds to my bathroom, full of steaming and emerging from the steam with nothing but a smile and a loofah.
Oh my God!
Looking dramatic.
I'm imagining I'm imagining you doing Old Spice commercials.
Oh, what like nutmeg and cinnamon?
No, I'm imagining him doing like Confessions of a Plumber films and things like that.
Confessions of a Policeman.
I mean,
It's a bit of a blockage, love, but I've cleared it.
I mean, Warren's fan club would absolutely love it if it was the bathroom, but
I know bathroom's got so much comedy potential. And dramatic potential. Bedroom's fine. Everyone has one in the bedroom. What you're all saying, I know. I'm watching you all now. But I mean...
I have filmed in the bedroom, haven't I, Lisa?
Oh, my.
Oh,
No, YouTube videos of you going through old Radio Timeses and things.
And weren't we caught in the bedroom in the Toby and Lucy?
We were. Yeah, I filmed. Yeah, you filmed in our bedroom, I think.
I've done whole episodes in the bed.
Oh, hold on a minute. I'd like to stop here. Didn't somebody film me sat on the toilet?
Yes.
See, it's more dramatic in the bathroom.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, but that wasn't a secret camera. You knew that was happening.
All right. My answer is, if you really want to see me in the bathroom, God bless you. I mean, I don't know what kind of person. Anyway, no, it's fine. But no, bedroom for me, because nothing ever happens there. And I'm just like Paul. I keep it cold. You to reduce fuel, and I've got my little knit hat, just like Paul, and you're not going to see a thing, and I never have visitors, so there you go.
Well, that's. I knew my question would be popular and successful. No, yes, it was, Uncle John, but it was quite rude and probing. Yes. Well,
no probing was involved.
What I really want to know is, Yeti Uncle John, what's your answer?
I don't mind. I'm thinking of starting an OnlyFlans account. I'm gonna eat flans on camera and to
in a bathrobe.
Watch me. Yes, I don't mind. I'm inviting the cameras to. But I'm charging. I can tell you. I think I will pay a subscription yet, Uncle John. Oh, don't be ridiculous. You can come and take part.
All right.
Top rate for a strawberry flan.
Oh.
All right, Yeti Uncle John, you're on, but I need you to switch from flan to Yorkshire pudding.
Give you a bit of my Yorkshire pudding. Oh yes. Oh, bit of gravy. Would you like some gravy? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time we finish now before this conversation gets out of hand. This is going to be the way that 2023 goes. I can't wait for the year to continue. Let's go. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
I gotta go now.
Goodbye, 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 goodbye.
It's been good, but yeah, definitely time to come home now.
This show is part of the Pride 48 network. Find more shows over at pride48.com.
Oh dear. What's going on now?
Oh, it's the Shy Life podcast. Let's go.
I have a voice. I have a voice.
You have a voice.
You have a voice. We have a voice.
We have a voice.
Unique voices in podcasting.
UnivazPods.net.
Hello listeners, it is me, Cuthbert the Robot. I am here to introduce the last segment of this Chatterbox episode, because we have some extra material to share with you. We have a further behind-the-scenes chat with Paul and Top P, and then some extracts from our recent chats with Callum and Harry, plus also a short recording that Paul made at midnight on New Year's Eve. Anyway, we hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you again soon. robot hugs, and a happy new year from me, Cuthbert. Kiss. Kiss. Kiss! Exclamation.
They examine photo. It is them. I can't type very well with my.
Oh, I'm doing notes the old-fashioned way. I'm writing it on paper.
We couldn't do that with the deals. Deals. Going to do recording. We are recording. We're going to do recording in a minute. Are you going to come to the gym with us? What do you think about the gym?
Anyways, we can, I'm sure tons more ideas will come to us as time goes on.
Once you start thinking of them, or you think, oh, this character should do this, or well, I try and do a plot, give everyone a plot, or have everyone. I've done a few things with the Phoenix. They may not come out yet, but I've done a few things with the Phoenix Farm, with so Albert the Dragon gets in it, and I've done a few things with where Cuthbert has kind of been reduced a bit to being the voice that comes in to link things where I haven't done any where I haven't recorded a link, and I might as well have Cuthbert do it.
That would be another great thing when I'm over at the Shy Life is I get into a fight with Cuthbert because he keeps butting in. I don't need you to speak right now. Or I try to figure out a way to unplug him.
I've got a plot line going at the moment where he's had a feud between him and August Evans because the whole vampire thing. There's an episode. None of these have come out yet, but there's an episode where Bettina's by herself and somebody knocks on the door asking if they have accommodation, and then he starts going on and she starts to think he might be a vampire, and they find that somebody's been sleeping in a coffin down in the cellar, but they've now gone. So they decide, Cuthbert sort of scans the house for vampires, and he puts these garlic alarms around. So if any vampires disturb anything, they'll get gassed with garlic. But unfortunately he disturbs August's studio, and August comes home from holiday, and it's all not in the right order, and he gets cross, and he sets off the garlic alarm and gets gassed. And so there's a few, and that's kind of makes him go. Well, you know how Damius used to go a bit funny sometimes, and obviously August is Damius really as good as, and so he's got there's a feud going on between Cuthbert and August at the moment, more on August's side, but because I also wanted something for Big Fatty to do as Robot Big Fatty, I've decided that it gets so big that Robot Big Fatty starts to sort of campaign and say we must stand up for our friend Cuthbert, who is being unfairly treated. So I've just sent Big Fatty some lines where he's got to do some big speeches as Robot Big Fatty, but I've also sent him lines where he's a bouncer at a nightclub. Do they call them bouncers in America?
Yeah.
He's a bouncer at a nightclub. But it turns out he's doing method acting for a film that he's in. But I'm gonna I'm gonna do an episode where the regulars and I get tickets to go to this opening night of a club. When we get there, Big Fatty is this bouncer. He's being really horrible to us, and it's only later we discover that he was just doing method acting. But also Big Fatty's trying to get Cuthbert to come. He thinks that Cuthbert deserves better, and he should be an A-list robot celebrity, and he wants him to come to our meetings with all the A-list robots. I also saw the M.R. James ghost story for Christmas, which Mark Gatiss is responsible for. But sometimes he changes the stories more than I don't know the original stories like word for word, but Toby does, and so I watch it and perhaps probably enjoy it. But then Toby comes out of his bedroom and kind of goes, "They changed this. They added this character. They did." Sometimes there's a bit too much of twist of changing things for, I don't know that they're for good reasons, but he said.
Well, yeah, I felt a little bit like that. I mean, you wouldn't have read the books, and you also wouldn't have seen the screenplay. But there was a and I'm not a big reader at all, but the one thing that I really loved was the Foundation trilogy by Isaac Asimov. Isaac Asimov, and I really loved the Foundation trilogy as it was then, and then they brought it to Apple, and they've just. It's not recognizable. It's within the same universe. Was it enjoyable? Yes, it was enjoyable, but it was nothing. There was very little of the actual Foundation trilogy in that Apple production. It does have, it has all of the characters, but it's just quite a different story.
Sometimes it worries me. Sometimes it worries me that they're doing it so that the adapters can say, "Oh, this bit was totally mine," sort of thing, and rather than it being for a good reason. Possibly. I don't know if that's the case, but that's how it feels to me. It's like, who are you to be, changing something written by somebody who, who's kind of, you wouldn't. Yeah, it just feels wrong sometimes. But
it's a bit of a shame. I guess it's one of those sort of things that. Maybe in a way we shouldn't even bother seeing these TV adaptations. We should just stick with the books, or one of the things, but not the other, because often it can just turn into such a horrible disappointment.
That adaptation of the Midwich Cuckoos that we watched in Kent certainly wasn't faithful to the book because it wasn't set when it was set. But I think that was quite a good. Sort of, that has been made. I guess with the M.R. James, I think that not all of his stories have even ever made it to film. So wouldn't it be nice if they just made them straight? Yeah, you can understand with Shakespeare. Yes, people get a bit fed up with this is the 700th version of Hamlet. Let's do it set in 1970s Berlin or something. And it's fine. But when it's the only version of a story, I'd rather it be a more
faithful.
With Midwich Cuckoos, they've definitely done it a number of times. So, and they were expanding it, and it was set in the 21st century. And I thought, that how many episodes? That was quite a few episodes, wasn't it? Was it as much as 8 or? It was
it was about 5 or 6, I think. Yeah, in the end.
They were quite long episodes.
I was worried that we wouldn't be able to finish it, but we did. Thank goodness for that.
But it was all right. But one film that I've just seen, and I liked it so much, I bought the book. There's a film called My Policeman, which came out with Harry Styles playing the main character. But it's a love story, a gay love story set in the 1950s Brighton, and it's about this guy this young guy who's a policeman, and he falls in love with this guy who works in a gallery. But it's all kind of because, of course, it wasn't legal still, and then it jumps to the present day, where and you sort of see. But it's kind of sad, but sort of has a happy ending. Anyway, I liked it enough that I bought the book, and the book is very good as well. But whoever adapted it must have adapted it very faithfully, because there were whole and I could swear the words are almost, "Yes, dears, you liked it too, didn't you? I think you were crying at the end. I saw you crying at the end. You did. You had a little tear in your eye. Yes, you did. You did. Sit down." Yes, that's good. The whole I can totally recognise where we are in the story, and the things that they say at certain points are almost word for word. So there were probably some changes.
It's very faithful.
It's very, very faithful, but yeah, it's probably so. It should be. It clearly comes from a good source. It's not. The book was very well written. So
yeah,
sometimes the actual authors adapt the book. I didn't actually see who adapted it. I'll have to go back, because it's not like a really famous writer or anything. Well, not. I watched my two scare. Well, I've got 3 films that are sort of Christmassy, but one of them definitely is Christmassy, Black Christmas, which is like a 1974 sort of slasher film. Even though slasher films didn't really exist then, it was one of the first. Right before there was even a name for the genre, and I watch that every year, because although it's bloody, there's some great like one-liners, because it's about girls in a sorority house, and one of them was played by Margot Kidder, who played Lois Lane, and she's great in it. But she's the one she's like feeding brandy to a child at one point. They're very it's not a comedy, but it's just very. There's some very funny lines, and they're very irresponsible.
Very good.
And then there's another one I like called Symptoms, which is about a lady in a house going losing the plot deals, isn't she? And that's very autumnal. And I also think it was probably filmed around the time that I was born, because it was released in early 70, like May 74. And if they were filming in the autumn, it must have been around the time that I was about people. And there's another one called Images, which is also about a lady sort of losing the plot. And that's set in very beautiful countryside in very autumnal weather. So although those two aren't Christmassy in any form, they're very this time of year-ish.
Yeah, totally.
And they've got into it. Black Christmas has been a tradition for quite a while. Those last two have kind of attached themselves. But I've watched two of the three. I'll probably have to watch Images later. But I've got quite a lot of
like a Christmas tradition.
I've got quite a lot of films I want to watch that I've never seen before. That I sort of buy on in digital or on Prime and stuff.
Yes, I got there next day.
I never used. I don't know whether things have got. Never used to have so much confusion over the different the flats. 7A and 7B as we do the. Like,
I didn't mention 7A or 7B because that was another meltdown.
We do sometimes have trouble with the pizzas and stuff. I mean, once we had pizza, and Toby looked out the back door and he'd wandered off down. He was like. Toby said he almost looked like he was in tears trying to, but and that we would have told him, Grandpa Flat. In fact, we stopped using.
They don't ring you up, do they? If they have trouble finding you, they just knock on doors.
I stopped using who we used to use for pizza because one day I went in and it just said can't deliver to this address, and I'm thinking, well, you've delivered to my address loads of times before. But if you don't want my trade, okay. So I went to Domino's instead, and they've been pretty good with just no problem at all. So I'm sticking with them at the moment.
So how much normal post have you had, if anything?
There are some cards waiting for me when I came back from my parents, because I've mainly been sending cards if I've received cards, and mainly sending them via Moonpig because I just don't trust the post. I don't know what happens with Moonpig cards because. I guess because they're a card company, they must all go. It's not like they stick them in a post box because they'd have too many. So whether they have, I don't know quite how it works. Whether they deliver them somewhere, I don't know quite how it works. But everybody I know a lot of people who have received them safely. So it's made me, even though it's a little bit more expensive. And I've got loads of cards in a box up there, but I mean, I've only really had one bad experience when I posted birthday cards in the summer in Surbiton, and none of them arrived, and they were all kind of important birthday cards, and it made me feel like they thought I hadn't bothered, and I had to kind of say, no, I did send you one.
We've only received one card.
I had more than that. I've got.
So I think we've probably had one postal delivery within the last 2 weeks.
I don't put them. I've had that many cards.
Yeah, so
I haven't actually put them out because we don't really have much space to put them out. But,
so I've only posted one, and that's to my Auntie Kate. So I haven't, because I thought this would happen. So it was just a complete waste of stamps and cards. So I didn't send you off because I normally send you off parents one, but I haven't.
Your Christmas present was the Daily Calendar 2023.
Oh yes,
which is
I could almost put it up.
I wish I could have got you something else as well, but it's because it's from a company that makes them. It's super.
Don't worry, I've also got a Landmark Trust one.
I don't think I'm not sure if we don't. Oh, was that from your sister? I don't think. I didn't buy a David Bowie one this year.
Have you got a Landmark Trust one?
No,
you get it free, don't you?
Well, I'm not sure if we're proper members at the moment because of not going on holidays. I've got a cat calendar as well, but I haven't got the Cat Protection League calendar that I usually get from my parents. So I don't know what's happened to that. But yeah, there's only one other person in the world that has a daily 2023 calendar, and that's you.
Yes. It will be going up shortly.
Yeah.
Sorry, National Landmark Trust.
Sometimes when he's been very, when I came back from my parents, he was very, come here, I want to cuddle you, and followed me around. When I came back from the hospital the other day, he wouldn't let me take my coat off. He followed me into the bedroom and jumped onto me, and I still got my coat on. But sometimes when I carry him through to my bedroom, we go past his calendar and I show him his kid's picture there. Well, who's that handsome cat there? The one I've got for December 2022 is what I did on, like, I don't know, Instagram or something, where I've inserted a little hat on him and a moustache. I don't know if you've got any really silly ones this year in the 2023 one, but yeah, he looks.
Wait to then ask me at the end of the year.
He looks super. Yeah, you always have to have one that's a bit more ludicrous for the December one, but yeah, December 2022 is classic. Little moustache, he suits a little moustache so well. And a little bobble hat. I need to find that picture and post it today. That should be my Christmas photo for this year. Dear. I think we're going to run out of time again soon. So, thank you for speaking to me on Christmas Day. And
yes,
this will be on the New Year's Day episode as extra material, I think.
Hi, listeners. You joined me minutes from midnight, the very end of 2022, and I'm playing a game of Fortnite because why not? I'm dressed like a mad-looking clown, and yeah, I thought this would be a fantastic way to start the new year. Partly because I'm running around a really multicoloured location. I arrived at a farmyard. I can see a man. Oh God, there's another man. Oh, there's another and a wolf. I'm really not ready for this. Nobody's got any weapons yet, so nobody really wants to get fighting. Oh dear. I'm on the roof of a building. I jumped away from the wolf, and the man. Oh, I can hear people with guns now. Oh dear. I decided that I was going to... Oh, actually, yes, those walls might be quite useful. I know it sounds awful, but one of the easiest objectives that I can achieve is to hunt wildlife during this game. But I don't have any weapons at the moment, well, other than a kosh. Picking up some bits in the barnyard. Gonna smash some barrels. I still don't have any weapons. It's 2 minutes to midnight. Dealey is awake. Dealey's awake. Hi, Deal. Just been for a snack. I've been drinking gin. I've been on the Negronis. No, well, I'm now on the Negronis, dears. I was drinking it neat the other day. This was a present from my friend. Well, let's just say Milo bought me it. I was drinking it neat the other day because that's what he said. It was good to drink it. There's a man shooting me. Sheesh. The man shooting me. Oh shit. He's killed me. How dare he kill me? At midnight. I need to get into another game. I was 67th. That was not a good game. Well, that was my last game of 2022. Let's count the next one as my first for 2023. Oh, look. Oh, wow. Fireworks going up. Oh, that's nice. There's fireworks going up, but I'm not actually in the game anymore, so I can't probably see them. Which is why I wanted to be here for New Year. Maybe it will still be playing by the time I get into the next game. Dear dears. That was not a good last game of 2022. I have been playing earlier though. I think I did okay earlier. I played this afternoon. Right. Getting ready for another game. Should start in 1 minute and 2 seconds. Maybe the fireworks will still be going. Maybe they'll go off again if I'm playing at 1 o'clock. I don't think I will be playing at 1 o'clock, but there we go. There's a strange sphinx-like creature shooting at me, but it doesn't count because we're not actually in the game at the moment. We're in the waiting room. Happy New Year, by the way, listeners. It's 1 minute past midnight now. Something is I've been doing a live show. Not 1 minute past midnight. There we go. Right, we're in the game. We're in the game. I want to go somewhere where I can find creatures to shoot, which I hate to say. I'm going to jump now. I'm high above the landscape. Going over some very strange landmass, because some of the trees are yellow leaves, orange leaves, some of them are green leaves. I guess I can just land here. I just don't want to die after only 2 minutes. I don't usually die as quickly as that. I'm going to land here. I'm in the yellow wood. Well, the trees around here are yellow leaved anyway. Going to hit a few things. Just entered the building. Picking up some fruit. I can't eat it at the moment. Oh, I could eat that. I'll eat the coconuts. What I really need is weapons. Oh, there's another coconut. 4 coconuts. I shall chomp away on those, as if you could do that in real life. No, there's a gun. I'm going upstairs. Picked up a grey weapon. What sort of gun's that? An assault rifle. Got some extra bullets. I think I'm ready to go outside.
Six 604. That's a 6, that's a 0, and a 4. Okay? All right then. Lord have mercy.
Okay.
Can't be done anywhere.
Is any of that usable? I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
Every second. Oh, hang on.
Are we stopping recording? I don't want to stop recording.
I'll have a glass of that now, please, Nick.
There's a bit of a glug left.
Well, what have you got, red or white?
White.
Oh.
Paul and I are scoffing the one bottle of white.
We're quaffing, not scoffing.
Squaffing.
Are you fans of dry white?
Dry, yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, mind you, I like dry white's my favourite. But I've got into. Well, I like red and rosé as well. It's fizzy wine I don't like.
Okay, really? No champagne for you?
No. I
went for a stage when I finished the book. When it was easy to get a book on Lulu, I used to treat myself to a bottle of champagne. But really, it was only because of wanting to be in an episode of the Avengers with Tara and Constantine.
I used to get a bottle of wine if I finished a script. Now it's not so much a rare occurrence. But,
are we stopping recording? Are we continuing recording? I don't want to turn it off before, if we're going to say something.
Well, you should, never turn it off.
No.
You never know.
Mr. T and Lisa, what are you drinking this evening then, Mr. T and Lisa?
I've got Lucasade Caribbean Crush.
Yeah,
I'm very dull.
I've got a bit of Coke left. I haven't had alcohol for ages.
I have got
one line or two.
I have got a box of chocolate liqueurs here. If anybody wants one. Hang on. I've got some famous name signature chocolates. And I can offer you Irish Cream, Harvey's, Teachers, Cointreau, or Courvoisier.
Wow.
So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 16 chocolates.
You got toffee penny?
Have you got Southern Comfort?
No.
No, it's the way he sits.
Chocolate. I don't know why.
Southern Comfort.
Southern Comfort might be okay because it's cherry, so it might go quite well with chocolate.
I think it would. Yes.
Yeah. I did look for Enver Cream, didn't I?
Nobody sells Enver Cream anymore.
But nobody sells Enver Cream.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
I might get
We'll have another glass.
The snowballs, you know. You can get it in cans.
Oh,
now, you never have to make it up.
A can of Ember Cream?
No, a snowball.
I can't remember. Crack open a can of Ember Cream with the boys down by the river.
Eggnog.
Oh, bloody egg. Oh, horrible.
We know you don't drink anything you can't see through.
That's my
goodness.
Go-to drink.
I think my favorite liqueur is Bailey's Irish Cream. Oh my God!
Good
God!
That's on board.
Over ice. Yeah.
Oh.
We're selling that at work at the moment for £10 a bottle, and it's just walking out. Well, it is walking out the store because they've not been tagged, but that's nothing to do with it. But
that's popular, is it?
It's quite popular.
Oh, okay.
I have this memory of Paul doing some podcast. Maybe it was live. I'm not sure, but he was doing schnapps of some kind as the show went on. I'm not sure. Did I make that up, or did that happen?
It's possible because I did do live episodes on Christmas Day, and we did used to have schnapps sometimes. So I may have had schnapps during an episode.
I think that I remember that. Yeah.
Imagine some sort of campaign. Don't drink and podcast. Yeah.
The live episodes became superseded by the Chatterbox because the people who were in the chat room for the live episodes were the people who now do Chatterbox. So
that's right.
It seemed silly for me to sit there by myself and not being able to interact with anybody when we could just, the live nature of it didn't really matter because it's live when you're recording like this. So,
The thing about it is podcasting is all about listening when you want to.
Yeah.
And it just, I would like to do a live show, but the fact is there'd be nobody there to listen when I was doing live. So, that's podcasting, listening on demand.
I quite like doing on Christmas Day, only more because Christmas Day isn't particularly a big family thing for me, so it was quite nice to have something to look forward to in the evening. But then some years, like I've chatted to you, Toppy, on Christmas Day, or something. Mm-hmm. I think me and Jay chatted on Christmas Day, so it doesn't really need to be broadcast to the world.
Right. Although, actually, for the Smellcast, every year I think this is the year, because even though I know there'd be nobody there to listen live, I still want to do it. So every year I think this is the year that once a month I'm going to live stream the Smellcast and just see what happens. I've never done it, but I still want to do it. One day maybe I will.
Well, I still do the Pride 48 live streaming event. The last couple of years, that's been my only proper live episode.
Yeah, that's fun. I've missed it for 3 years.
Yeah, although I had to be rescued because the technology has changed and I have to be rescued.
You know what I wonder? What in the world size shoe do you think the Shayeti wears? I don't know. I just wonder. that Paul, he's a great guy. No. Paul's a great guy. Great guy. Sometimes his poems confuse me. Okay, we're going to need to get a list of characters on the show. There's far too many. Let's list them, write them down, because I can't keep track.
604, 604, 604,
It's time to single out Toppy now for his greatest hits, aside from the Chatterboxes. Toppy, episode 558, Paul and Toppy are gym bunnies. You took me to the gym a couple of times, and well, the first time we ended up at the gym, there were vampires there, and that was quite something. But I did get you involved in having your photo taken for Instagram.
Oh, I stole away for a cup of coffee. Are you on me?
Oh, we're on you.
Did he talking about me? What?
I
was why there was a bemused silence.
It's like he was so ashamed.
I was certain you
Paul was feeling desperately.
We'll take that one again.
Oh my God!
It's like sneaking out of school. I couldn't even notice he sneaked out the back of the classroom.
Is it a good cup of coffee though? That's what matters.
Yes, he didn't bring any for us. I hope he doesn't do this on Matinee Minutia. DJ will be furious.
I'm not at all responsible for what might happen.